Hello. Hi. Not you. You. Yeah, I was talking to you. Hi. Thanks for seeing me on such short notice. I was only 3 feet tall when I got the call, so short notice. Get it? I'm glad you had me to come into audition for the role of Johnny Cage in the hit upcoming Mortal Kombat film, MK for short, as I call it, the first of my kind to do so. But I'm going to be trying out for a bevy of roles in the MK universe. I think when all is said and done, I'll win you over with my performance, and we will possibly even form a friendship together. It's a Mortal Kombat thing. Again, you're smart. You get it. You get it. Maybe not you, but... As you can see, I'm in the traditional Scorpion fighting pose, just ready to strike, ready to pounce. I notice the standard, typical dude bro douchebag over by the snack table. Spear hook, whoosh, into his skull. Brains are all over the ground. Oh, what? You're mad about the name calling? Chill out, Sub-Zero. You're fine. I was told I was going to be able to rehearse some of the lines with the actress playing Sonya Blade. So if she could get over here and finish me, that would be great. Scorpion teleport punch coming at you. Holy sh**. Okay, that legit freaked me out. I have no idea what just happened there. For the next few minutes, I'm going to mesmerize you with a few of the iconic moves from the Mortal Kombat franchise, set to the theme song performed by me. Dun 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 to fight. Hadouken! 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 Kano. Blue King. Sonic Raiden. Johnny Cage. Hadouken! Scorpion. Hadouken! Sub-Zero. Sonya. Mortal Kombat! To fight. Oh, you got! Street Fighter? I'm not familiar. Is that a Mortal Kombat spin-off? Sonya, it's me, your best friend Jax. If you think these metal arms are impressive, you should see what's happening downstairs. If the writing department's scratching the old noodle on how to handle the fatalities, they can give old Adam a call. I'm right here. Old Adam Bear's ready to go. I've actually workshopped a couple of those in my free time. Okay, so if it's a male opponent and the finish him comes up, you just whoosh, whoosh, grab both balls individually and look right into the guy's eyes and just, yeah, whoosh, and you got them both in the hands and you just go, and you spit the balls into both their eyes, blinding the guys, like blowing through the eye sockets. And he just falls backwards, at which point you zip down your pants and piss all over him. That's one. No offense, sweetie, but I assume the role for Sonya Blade is going to go back to the masterful performance by Ronda Rousey, who voice acted for her in the last Mortal Kombat game. to, I believe, thunderous applause from the community. If she is busy, I suppose we could ask Gina Carino. I think she's pretty open these days, has a pretty free schedule. Yeah. Another potential fatality is actually to bring back animalities. You know how well that worked out in Mortal Kombat 2 that hit the big screen. It was just a beautiful film, Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I don't think we can even top that. I don't know why we're trying. But anyway, huge fan of that. Huge fan of that one. Anyway, animality, the person turns into a praying mantis, has intercourse with the other person, and then bites the head off, as the praying mantis does. The intercourse portion, I think, should be just as graphic as the beheading, if not more so. I'd really like it to be uncomfortable for all parties involved, not just the audience, but the director, the actors, for sure, camera crew, really everybody and anybody that sees it. The final fatality I have is actually a babality. The person gets turned into a baby, which is cute and fun, but then it gets back into a fatality because they take the baby, put it up for adoption. We do a whole scene in the film that maybe takes like 20 minutes where we kind of follow this baby's life as the kid gets older and eventually becomes a participant in a Mortal Kombat himself or herself, and they're just absolutely eviscerated, just mauled. Like, this is basically a full other movie. Or it's just a baby that gets put up for adoption, is instantly adopted, and then it becomes a dumpster baby. They just throw it away. They decide they don't want it. So there's a few options we could do for this fatality, which I think would really subvert expectations. Sonia Actress, if you want to stick around after this is all said and done and you like what you see, which, let's be honest, I think you do, why don't we head on over to your place, since I'm currently living out of my car, and see how the night shakes out. Maybe have a couple drinks, watch a movie, order a za, and we could possibly try to make a babality together. And she's leaving. Pretty much nailed this. So whatever role you're thinking of casting me for, potentially multiple roles, feel free to just give an old rap on my car window. That's where I'll be staying for the foreseeable future. I'd say you could call me, but by the time I got here, my phone was taken by a junkyard dog. So we have kind of a little bit of a Sandlot scenario taking shape where I have to try to get the phone back from the beast on the other side of the fence. But in this case, instead of the friendly elderly black man, James Earl Jones, we have a scary beyond all reason, white homeless man with missing teeth and a lot of tattoos and battle scars. He's seen some shit. He's seen a lot. Okay. Scared to talk. I didn't have a chance to test the audio sync, and what's been happening is lately Streamlabs just goes live when I hit stream. It's ready. It's off to the races. There's no preview on YouTube. It just goes. I will look to the chat for some information. Is my audio okay? Is the video okay? I'll just keep kind of sampling the soda. Audio is good, it says Rob and Bubba, so I think we're okay tonight. This is a treat. I honestly locked in the first 30 minutes to be tech support issues. With that out of the way, welcome to Adam Does Movies Live. I do these every Tuesday night, every Friday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, Central, Standard, something time, whatever we use. I don't know why daylight savings is still a thing. It's disgusting and it needs to go away. But no one has the balls, no one has the cojones to get rid of it. Hope everybody's having a lovely Friday night. I didn't really have anything major planned for Friday, and I asked the fam, short for family, and Lindsay said, hey, Adam, why don't you give a list of summertime flicks that people can watch? And I thought, that's a dumb idea. I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'll do Michael Bay movies ranked. I'll do a tier list. And I put a poll up, and people said they wanted the summer movie recommendations. So naturally, I lied to Lindsay and said, no, they overwhelmingly went for the Michael Bay ranked films. And I hope that she just doesn't see this video, and she'll just assume that I'm always right. With that out of the way, we are going to be talking about, I did prepare a list. I made a summer movie list. It consists of not only films for the whole family, but we have some scary movies, we got some comedies, we got some coming of age stories, some dramedies. There's a lot here, and we're going to spend the next 45 minutes or so kind of going through it all, talking about the pros and the cons. I even had my family throw a couple into the mix, and we'll see. And I want to point out, Super Chats are always the name of the game on these Tuesday and Friday streams. The reason for that, I put a lot of work in on this channel, and it doesn't seem like I'm getting anything back in return from YouTube. The monetization program is really pathetic. I think they're putting a lot more of their eggs in the shorts basket, the 1 minute or less clips. I try to put one out every day. It doesn't work. It's too much content to make. But I think they put a lot of money in there and resources, and plus there's just so much out there that it's hard to bring in that revenue. So yeah, Super Chats are appreciated. If you give me one, I read it, I answer any questions you have, and I thought Super Chats might be fun for this because you can Super Chat a summertime movie that you think would be great for people to watch, and I'll shout it out. With that out of the way, let's begin the list. Let me just bring it up. Boo! All right, on Letterboxd, I really quickly created a list. It's rough and tumble. It's all over the place. I tried to kind of lay the land out, but I started with shark films because when you think of summer, you think of the beach, you think of skin cancer, and then you think of scary things that both have to do with the beach, and that's sharks. Growing up, I had a pool. I know, I'm in the top 1%. Sorry. No, that's not true. We did have at one point an above ground pool in Minnesota, which was just fantastic. 2 or 3 years of pure bliss. I don't even know if it was that long. It might have just been 2 years. I'll have to ask my mom about that when I talk to her next. Hey mom, how long did we have a pool for? When I was in 3rd and 4th grade. Well, I guess I could figure it out that way. It was probably 3 years. This was way too long of a story. Regardless, the punchline is I was legit scared of a shark manifesting itself in that pool because of this film Jaws. Skid it, skid it, skid it, did 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 it. Perfect film. This is a Steven Spielberg vehicle through and through. Let's read the synop. Don't go in the water. That's the tagline. When an insatiable great white shark terrorizes the townspeople of Amity Island, the police chief, an oceanographer, and a grizzled shark hunter seek to destroy the bloodthirsty beast. I've seen this movie a stupid amount of times, and I never get sick of it. I love it. I love this film. It's the cinematography's great. It has this focused vibe on the ocean and on this shark that's looming below. I've praised this movie up and down several times. So has the rest of the world, and we have a lot of movies to get through. Jaws is a film that everybody should see, and if they haven't, they're fools. And that's the bottom line. Next up is Deep Blue Sea. I assume a lot of people have seen this 1999 vehicle as well. It's no Jaws, but it's an entirely different beast, and it's trying to be. We have bigger, smarter, faster, meaner for the tagline. And here's the synopsis. Here's the breakdown. Researchers on the undersea lab Aquatica have genetically altered the brains of captive sharks to develop a cure for Alzheimer's disease, but there's an unexpected side effect. The sharks got smarter. That's right. Faster and more dangerous. I probably should have read that whole part. After a big storm damages the remote research facility, they must fight for their lives. This is a cool movie. It's so over the top. The sharks look fake as shit, but it's really fun watching them swim backwards. One of the guys is like, they're not supposed to be able to do that. They can now. They both double team rip another shark in half. These sharks are vicious, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I brought this movie up actually a week or so back on the podcast because I saw this movie in theaters with my dad. We played hooky from work. After the movie was done, he informed me that he had in fact quit his job. same job I worked at the time. So I was actually out of a job as well. Thanks, Dad. 16-year-old Adam, what was he going to do for work? Work with you again? Nepotism much? I didn't. I didn't care for sweeping warehouses. It wasn't really my true calling, I don't think. Maybe it was number 2 on the list. Deep Blue Sea, number 2 on my shark list. Right under Jaws. Big fan. We are in Shark Week still. The Shallows, I really like this one. I'm a big fan of bottle episode movies where there is a problem. There's typically one central location, usually only a couple key players. In this case, it's Blake Lively, looking absolutely smoking hot in this. But that's not even the best part of the film. It's the shark. It's the giant whale carcass out afloat, out at drift. And she realizes after trying to hit some killer waves that she's not the only killer in the sea. And she's stranded on a rock for an hour and a half trying to figure out what she's going to do. Big fan. I took up surfing. Me and my children had surfing lessons all week. It was grueling. That's why there hasn't been as much content on the channel. Because the first halves of my days, I had to take half days at work, were surfing. I've never surfed before. I'm from Minnesota. We don't have access to an ocean. We have 10,000 lakes, of course, but they're not wavy enough to put a surfboard on. Well, maybe sometimes they are, but that's not really what they're meant for. Regardless, I love it. I freaking love surfing. The sucky thing is it takes about an hour just to get to the ocean from my place. So a back and forth every day plus a couple hour, surf lessons, that eats up a large chunk of time. Time I desperately need more of. But I am going to keep it going. I was able by the end of the 4th day, get out there, paddle in on my own, stroke it on my own, pop up on the board and just ride that wave to freedom. And I'm looking forward to doing more of that for sure. I'll get a foam board for the fam. We'll all each get one and we'll become surfing pros, really. If this YouTube thing doesn't work out, I think, at 40, that's the ripe age to get out on the surfboard and make that a career. I did get a super chat in. Please, I appreciate it. Put super chats in. I will read them mainly at the end, but since I noticed this one right now, I'll just say Bronson Wright Wolf with the $5 powerful super chat says, I like Michael J. Fox as Stuart Little. Other than Back to the Future, what is your favorite Michael J. Fox movie? I liked Michael J. Fox actually more for TV shows. I liked him a lot in, I think it was Family Ties. I always get the names screwed up with Growing Pains and the other ones, but he was really young in that. Smart ass. I think he was a very political kid. He was always debating his family. Just sharp as a tack. I also really enjoyed him in Curb Your Enthusiasm, which was a few seasons back. He actually played up the Parkinson's that he's struggling with. Freaking hilarious performance from him. I wish we would have had more time with Michael J. Fox. Of course, there's the Teen Wolf, but I wasn't really a big fan of that. There is one more other big Michael J. Fox movie that I'm totally blacking out on. But I liked him from the TV show stuff and, of course, mainly Back to the Future. Mainly Back to the Future. Off the top of my head, that's what I remember. Oh my God. Thank you, Ash. Thank you. That is the movie. The Frighteners is one of my favorite horror movies. It's completely off the beaten path. Peter Jackson directed. Michael J. Fox plays Frank Bannister. Such a great name to say, Frank Bannister. And they say it constantly. He is fantastic in this film. Highly recommend The Frighteners. I know I've talked about it before. I will absolutely be talking about this movie again, probably around Halloween. All right, we're really cruising through this list, aren't we? The Shallows, Open Water. You can see I put the ranking 3.5. Now, I want to keep this in mind. I want to put this out here. Letterboxd ranking system, the stars, the 5 stars. I'm not big on it. I do put rankings in when I can. Ratings, I guess, would be the appropriate ranking. Doesn't make sense. I do put ratings in. I don't really stand by any of them. I am more generous with 5 stars than I think most people are. There's some really uppity people that are like, oh, this isn't a 5-star movie. It should follow under this criterion. No, if a movie has staying power, if it's in the Zengeist, if it's memorable, if it hits you in a certain way, if it makes you feel certain things, I think that's a 5-star. I think that's a 5-star. And it's going to vary, of course. Open Water, it's a good flick. It is one of those movies that stayed with me. It was haunting. It's shaky cam found footage style Blair Witch crap where they're out stranded in the middle of the ocean because they were out on a diving course thing with a group and they got left behind. Unfortunately for them, the husband's injured. Shark bite. He's bleeding all over and there are hungry sharks circling them the entire time. I remember the behind the scenes making of this film. These 2 actors were in a cage and there were real sharks swimming with them basically around the clock. So they were legitimately freaking out. Even though they were technically safe, the sharks were probably tranked to all hell. Who knows what they do to these things. Still pretty intense. And it's definitely a good one-time watch. I also heard there's another film just like this called The Reef. I still haven't watched The Reef. I heard it's really good. I heard it's better than this. So maybe this would get replaced with that. Okay, now we are into the more summery, feel-good flicks on my list. We have The Sandlot. This is a 5-star movie over and over. I've seen this thing so many times. It's stupid. It actually just premiered over at, I live in this nice little community in South Carolina, and they did a first movie night out at the big open park area we have. Big old projector. People actually brought out kiddie pools for the kids to swim in and watch, and they put on Sandlot, and it was great. It's still just as good as ever. You're killing me, Smalls. Forever. Would you like some more? Some more what? No, a s'more. There's so many good lines in this movie. You play ball like a girl. I love it. Next up, another one that's just as peak. We're talking The Goonies. Good enough. We got Cyndi Lauper throwing out a bunch of songs. I guess I didn't do a synopsis for The Sandlot. I don't think I need to do a synopsis on all of these. That's okay. For The Goonies, we have a young teenager named Mikey Walsh finds an old treasure map in his father's attic. Hoping to save their homes from demolition, Mikey and his friends, Data Wong, Chunk Cohen, I didn't know Chunk had a last name, and Mouth Devereaux, I didn't know he did either. I always just go by their, Mouth, Chunk, Data, run off a big quest to find the secret stash of Pirate One-Eyed Willie. Love this movie. It's like young Indiana Jones. You got an Inspector Gadget type character with Data. Chunk's doing the truffle shuffle. I can't say enough good things about this movie. Has it aged? No, not really. It's timeless. It really is. It has practical special effects through and through. There's nothing cheesy or schlocky about the film. It's just genuinely something fun for the whole family. Now, yes, Sloth can scare the little ones for sure. He haunted me for a while. Hey, you guys. Doesn't come in until way later. So he's not a fun character. He's a scary, beyond all reason character. But this is a freaking great film. Richard Donner. Okay, moving down the list. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Stand By Me, 1986 film. The last time I saw this movie was probably in the mid-90s. It has been a long time. I know it's a great film, though. Actually, that's not true. I watched it not that long ago. I probably saw this in 2008, but that's still like 1,000 years in my mind. Let's read the synopsis. After learning that a stranger has been accidentally killed near their rural homes, 4 Oregon boys decide to go see the body. On the way, Gordy, Vern, Chris, and Teddy encounter a mean junk man and a marsh full of leeches, as they also learn more about one another and their very different home lives. Just a lark at first, the boys' adventure evolves into a defining event in their lives. This is written by Stephen King, directed by Rob Reiner. It's a coming-of-age tale. A lot of people like it. Kids are running from the train on the tracks. They find their dead body. There's a lot of stuff going on here. It really was one of those first boys being boys adventures that I can recall, where they learned something on their journey, and this would be something that would be mirrored in films going down the road, such as Goonies, such as The Sandlot. I noticed another super chat. Kevin Garland, why did you move to South Carolina? Taxes? I would say midlife crisis. Midlife crisis would be more appropriate. I lived in Minnesota basically my whole life. There was a 2-year stint where I moved to Arizona with my wife Lindsay. We were engaged at the time. Actually flew back for the wedding. That was fun. That was cool. I hate the weather in Minnesota, but I like virtually everything else. It's a beautiful state. All my family and friends live there basically, and I have a big family. It's clean. There's a lot to do, but the weather sucks ass. There is just no getting around it. They got the Mall of America there. We got Duluth over there. The 10,000 Lakes thing, like I said. There's tons of great things about Minnesota, but the weather being bad for 7 months out of the year, 8 months out of the year sometimes, no dice for me. So once COVID hit and everybody in their 30s and 40s took a look at what they were doing and realized, wait, I have a computer job? I can do this from anywhere. I said, wait, I have a computer job? I can do this from anywhere. And so we looked on a map. We looked at pros and cons of each state. South Carolina on paper seemed like a great destination. So I came out for a couple days, checked out some of the newer developments, very kind of progressive area of South Carolina. I know it's got the bad rap. It's got terrible education, terrible medical. All that is absolutely true. It really is. It's the exact opposite of Minnesota. It has amazing weather, access to beaches, access to, the mountains in North Carolina. There's like, 6.5 hours from Florida, so you can go to Disney World and Universal Studios, which we really like doing. But everything else is way worse than Minnesota. The roads, the infrastructure is trash. Lots of trash, literally, all around. A lot of establishments you go in are a little bit more run down. People seem to not wash their hands as much. I mean, I could go on, but we still really like it, and this development is really cool. And again, I like going to the beach, and I love the warm weather. I like bringing my computer outside, editing, working, and being able to hang out with my kids and not just be indoors. Go on hikes, check out different new areas, beautiful scenic areas. It's a lot of fun. So we're definitely making the most out of it. Whether we'll stay here long term, unlikely. It's a destination hub. It's a find yourself area, but we'll probably stay here for the foreseeable future. I'm not going back to Minnesota, I'll say that much. That cold bothers me anyway. Thank you for the question. Oh, and as far as the taxes go, that's all bullshit. They always say this. Minnesota does have high taxes, is on the higher side, but you see where the taxes are going. Roads are beautiful, they're pristine. They always have the plows out, taking care of everything in the community. It is a clean ass state, at least the suburban areas. Now, South Carolina supposedly has really low taxes, but they tax you up front with shit. Like I had to pay a car tax for $700 on top of my tabs, which are another $400 or $500. I don't even know what this is. There's additional fees that you pay here before tax time, so they still hit you, but you don't actually know where your taxes are going because I don't see it on the roads. That's my take. And again, medical down here is awful. Kevin, really just trying to derail me, which is fine, but he says, with the $2 super chat, $1.99, how we did the same thing. We moved from LA to Houston. All right, well, you did weather shifts. Maybe yours was for the taxes, or maybe you just. I mean, I heard LA is insanely overpriced. Like it's almost impossible to live unless you're a multimillionaire. Okay, let's focus. Next up on the list, we have strong female leads. And it's about time. A League of Their Own, based on the true story of a team of baseball heroines who want to play ball like the boys. They got a manager with Tom Hanks. We got Gina Davis in this thing. We have Madonna. Who's the loudmouth that's in this? The heavy set gal that Rosie O'Donnell. Rosie O'Donnell O'Donnell back in the 90s was the queen. She was in Stakeout. She was in Another Stakeout. She had a show that she hosted, like a morning show, Rosie or something. I mean, she was a big deal. This is a great movie. The only character I don't care for, I don't know, is it Lori Petty? Yeah, I've never been a fan of this actress, Lori Petty. Tank Girl, as I refer to her. And even in this movie, she annoys the shit out of me as Kit. But this is a really fun, cool-ass film that everyone should see. A League of Their Own. It's summery. We're talking baseball. And now I got that Simpsons song in my head. We're talking baseball. Na 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 na. Bronson Wright Wolf with a $5 super chat says, what is your favorite Johnny Depp / Tim Burton movie? I'm asking about the movies they collaborated on together. Okay. Well, they did Edward Scissorhands. They did, so many Tim Burton movies. He didn't do the Lone Ranger, did he? That's not Tim Burton. Johnny Depp, Tim Burton. He did the haircut one where he's oh God, I didn't see it. I honestly didn't see it. I would have to look up Tim Burton movies, and that's going to derail this whole thing. But we'll do that. Okay, I can see. Oh, Sleepy Hollow. I really like Sleepy Hollow. I didn't see Sweeney Todd. I didn't see Dark Shadows either. He did Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? I forgot. That's disgusting. I hate that movie. You know, I'm going to have to go with... Is Johnny Depp in Sleepy Hollow? I don't know if he's in that one. That's my favorite. But he is. Okay, good. Oh, yeah, he's the main guy. I'm going to go with Sleepy Hollow for sure. I really like that one. I have to show my kids that movie. That movie's freaking awesome. Man, Tim Burton, he is really swinging a miss sometimes, isn't he? I like Big Fish a lot from Tim Burton, but Johnny Depp's not in that one. Gina Davis, she's a treasure. If you haven't seen Gina Davis in The Long Kiss Goodnight, great movie. Highly recommend that one. Okay, this is a fun flick. I wouldn't say it's even a great movie, but I think a lot of people didn't see this one. That's why I put it on the list. Plus, we're at the beach. Plus, we got Jason Segel in this. He wrote it. He's really funny. You get to see his penis if that's something you're interested in. He shows that thing off right away. It's very funny, and it's not impressive in the slightest. And I'm proud for him for having the balls to do that, quite literally. I also recommend this because Mila Kunis and Kristen Bell are both in this, and they look smoking hot. And Kristen Bell is, she's just perfect for me. She's just kind of perfect for me. And my wife knows this. She understands. There's just some things that, we have for ourselves, and some things that we hold dear. And Kristen Bell's one of those things. So yes, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, it's a funny movie. You have a lot of characters showing up here and there. I don't even want to ruin, I see that it shows up on the screen, some of the actors. Let's move on because I don't want to spoil some of the cameos because there's good stuff in there. Okay, this is a classic. Caddyshack, 1980. This is a perfect film for me, through and through. Highly quotable. highly funny. You have some of the greatest comedic legends at the top of their game here, and the game is golf. We got Chevy Chase. You see right on the cover there, we got Rodney Dangerfield. Again, no respect. We have Ted Knight. We got Bill Murray in this. Cinderella Story. Caddyshack is timeless. You got a dancing gopher. You got Bill Murray running around blowing shit up. Great music. You got Journey in there at one point. There's not enough good to say about this movie. The only bad I will say is there's a sequel. I still haven't seen it. I refuse to watch it. Dan Aykroyd's in there. I think he's basically doing a poor version of Bill Murray's character from the first. Yeah, here's the synopsis. At an exclusive country club, an ambitious young caddy, Danny Noonan, eagerly pursues a caddy scholarship in hopes of attending college and, in turn, avoiding a job at the lumberyard. In order to succeed, he must first win the favor of the elitist Judge Smales. I'm picturing the end of the movie where everything blows up and the ball just drops in and he freaks the fuck out. Caddyshack's timeless. Okay, we got Clueless on here, 1995. Alicia Silverstone, absolute fox. Schwing! Wayne and Garth would say. And I do as well. I think JD and Turk's in this from Scrubs. I think Turk's in this movie. And I love Scrubs. So that makes Clueless even better in my mind. Who's the dad? There's a guy that plays a dad in every movie he's in. And I can't remember his name. Oh yeah, Paul Rudd's in here. And the late Brittany Murphy. I gotta find the dad. Donald Faison, maybe? Nope. Oh, that's Turk. I'm just going to have to kind of like go down the list because I don't remember. Well, I know him. Okay. No, it's not Jeremy Sisto. I don't know. Someone in the chat's going to have to tell me who the dad in Clueless is because he plays a dad every single time. Yeah, so what we have here is I wouldn't say it's coming of age. You just have some really shallow, dumb girls. I'm saying some really fetch phrases. And no, it's not Mean Girls, but this is pre-Mean Girls. Shallow, rich, and socially successful, Cher is at the top of her Beverly Hills High School's pecking scale. Seeing herself as a matchmaker, Cher first coaxes? Yeah. Two teachers into dating each other. Emboldened by her success, she decides to give hopelessly klutzy new student Ty a makeover. Is it Ty or Tay? I don't care. Alicia Silverstone is fantastic in this. She would go on to do basically nothing afterwards except for have to go to a fat camp to try to fit into a Batgirl costume that was ill-fitting, a little too tight around the waist. I felt bad for her. She would fall off the face of the earth for many years, only to resurface still a babe all these years later. I think she reprised her role as Cher in like a Super Bowl ad a couple years back. Ash says Eugene Levy. It's not Eugene Levy. It's a different guy that kind of looks like him. Speaking of Eugene Levy, American Pie. I feel like American Pie is never talked about anymore, unless it's to say American Pie is socially, culturally, everything insensitive. And that was the point back when it came out. So I don't really get what the articles are saying. Yeah, it wasn't cool to film a girl without her knowledge and then stream it to a bunch of boys. Like, these weren't the good guys of the movie. They're just horny dudes that did something inappropriate. That's what it was about. Like, I don't get the up on the pedestal, like shouting to the rooftops, American Pie is not acceptable. Yeah, we know. But it's funny as hell. At a high school party, four friends find that losing their collective virginity isn't as easy as they had thought, but they still believe that they need to do so before college. To motivate themselves, they enter a pact to all score by their senior prom. A lot of good-looking women in this. Some decent-looking guys, I guess. I mean, most of them are awkward. But you got Stifler in here. Sean William Scott, who would reprise this role several times to lesser avail. Although, Sean William Scott in Road Trip is gold. And Road Trip is funny as hell as well. Road Trip could almost be on here too. That's summary. That's a summary flick. I would back-to-back this. I would do American Pie, American Pie 2. American Wedding is serviceable. American Reunion's forgettable. I legitimately don't remember anything about it. And then I would go into Road Trip. Get a nice Sean William Scott marathon. You could maybe end it with a nice glass of The Rundown with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Legitimately one of his only good movies. Oh. Jan Rose with a $3 super chat asked, what movie had the biggest influence on your life? Biggest influence? I don't know. I always go back to Jurassic Park is the moment when I watched a movie and I just thought, this is incredible. Before that point, no movie I had seen hit me the way Jurassic Park did. And I know that's going to be different for every single person. But when I watched that movie, I was obsessed. And I would go on to find anything about it, the behind the scenes footage. It helps that I love dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are awesome. But the fact that Spielberg was able to create these beasts using, industrial light magic and all these new advancements in technology and marry it all so seamlessly. And you still watch that movie today, and sure, it's aged a bit, but for the most part, you're still in it, right? You still can watch that film and appreciate everything going on, all the blood, sweat, and tears. And even as a kid, looking at that movie, being scared at parts, being in awe at other parts, I just thought, this is what I want to do, or this is what I want to talk about and experience for the rest of my life. So Jurassic Park, absolutely. But I think that there's different movies at different points in a person's life, and music and, books and whatever you're into, that will hit you based on how you're already feeling in the moment. The Matrix came out at a perfect time when I was in high school. I think every high schooler, high school boy especially, really was hit with that movie. It resonated with them in a certain way, just like Star Wars did for generations before. I remember talking to my art teacher in college, and she said when they saw the planet show up for the first time and the spaceship flying over it, that had not been done before. Not to that scale. Not to that effect. Not to that realistic, achieved goal. And people in the theater were going nuts. We take that for granted. Now we have Transformers 7, and there's robots riding on top of other robots, flipping around while a giant planet-eating robot alien is ripping things up. And it's all just, it's all noise. It all looks pretty and shiny, but there's nothing impactful about that anymore. I think that's another problem with, Avatar 2, I shit on. I do not like that movie. I think the story sucks. And I think the first movie had a paper-thin story that was made fun of a lot, but I let it go because the visuals and the effects work and all the craft done with motion capture were so pronounced. And that 3D element was just another layer to immerse you into the film, that I was able to just kind of look past the shallowness of the story and appreciate everything else. Well, that ship has failed, and now we have another movie in 3D 12 years later or whatever, and the story is way worse. If you don't have another aha reveal of 4D elements, or I'm not underwater watching this movie, you lost me. You lost me. Anyway, American Pie is great. Really funny. Really, really vulgar, crass humor. It was the Animal House for the new generation. That was always the thing they toted, and I agree. What about Bob? 1991, Bill Murray. A lot of people turn to Groundhog's Day when they think of funny Bill Murray movies. Ghostbusters, obviously. I'm a big What About Bob fan. This is my wife's favorite comedy. I don't knock her for it. It is really damn funny. And I'm pretty sure that Richard Dreyfuss hated Bill Murray while filming this. He drove him up the wall. It's got a lot of quotable lines. Bob is a patient of his who's a complete shit show. He can't even leave his apartment. So Dreyfuss's character, Dr. Leo Marvin, gives him this book called Baby Steps. And Bob takes it quite literally. He baby steps his way out the door, down the street, to a phone where he gets a hold of the doctor, finds out he's on vacation, and drives his ass up there and makes his life a living hell. What's more brilliant about it is by the end of the movie, he will have drove his psychiatrist crazy. And Bob will have acclimated himself into his family. It's good stuff. We're back outdoors again with The Great Outdoors. It's been a minute since I've seen this movie. I think my family liked this one more than I did, but you have Dan Aykroyd, you got John Aykroyd and John Candy. Oh my God, R.I.P. John Candy. They're just up to shenanigans out in the woods. I remember quite vividly Candy sitting down to eat that giant porterhouse. And if he eats it all, he gets the meal free, I think. I just remember the giant slab of meat. And then the cook or whatever comes out and is like, you got to eat all of it. And there was like a big thing of fat left. Just disgusting. And then there was the bear attack. Let's read the synopsis. It's vacation time for the outdoorsy Chicago man, Chet Ripley, along with his wife, Connie, and their two kids, Buck and Ben. But a serene weekend of fishing at a Wisconsin lakeside cabin gets crashed by Connie's obnoxious brother-in-law, Roman Craig, his wife, Kate, and a couple's two daughters. As the excursion wears on, the Ripleys find themselves at odds with the stuffy Craig family. That's right, this is in Wisconsin. I was in Minnesota. We're neighbors. I put Black Sheep on here. I don't know if this really I don't know if it classifies as summary. You know, they're on a campaign trail. It's definitely summertime. There's some football being played with ketchup packets pretending it's blood. I think this is just more to say Black Sheep's a fun film. Kind of a semi-sequel to Tommy Boy, without having Tommy Boy as the name, but Farley's basically Tommy Callahan again. David Spade's in this movie. They're the same exact characters, just going by different names. Not as funny as Tommy Boy for sure, but there's still some great laughs. I love when they're playing checkers. And Tommy, or whatever his name, I'm just going to call him Tommy. When Tommy Boy gets mad that David Spade won't move his back row, and he slams down on the thing, which causes a vibration in the ground, which shifts a rock. That will come into play later when the cabin is completely destroyed. Everything that takes place at the cabin is pure gold. The bat getting loose, I got dibs on top bunk, okay, and then the bunk smashes on top of it. Priceless. Oh, and then of course, Tommy Boy falling down that endless hill. God, Chris Farley, back to back comedy legends gone. This is turning into a depressing in memoriam list. Well, let's take things up to a happier notch. I think the next few on this little summary movie list thing that I've conjured out of my ass is family-friendly movies, mostly animated. Lilo and Stitch, I always found this to be a little underrated gem. Smaller scale, takes place in Hawaii. You have charming little kid girl, Lilo, finds this disgusting, ravenous alien named Stitch, crash lands on Earth, and there's other dumbass aliens after him. He will learn, as the movie progresses, how to acclimate with humans, how to behave himself, and how to become part of a family. Because Ohana means family, of course. And as he would say, is Ohana means family. And family, what is it? And what is nothing? Family doesn't leave anyone behind. I can't remember the phrase. There's a cool expression in there. Nobody gets left behind. That's what it is. As Stitch, a runaway genetic experiment from a faraway planet wreaks havoc on a Hawaiian island, he becomes the mischievous adopted alien puppy of an independent little girl named Lilo. That's right. She's always like, look at my puppy. Ew. And then there's the Secret Service agent who I also... Vin Rames. Wait, we didn't lose him. Okay, oh my God. For a second, I'm like, did we just go back to back to back dead guys? Vin Rames is the other big black dude. Who's the guy from, God damn it, what's the name of that movie now? Well, who's the other big black guy that died? He was Kingpin in that crappy Daredevil movie. Let's look him up. I gotta remember his name. Daredevil villain is Michael Clark Duncan. He's the one that passed away. Okay. Vin Rames is Bubbles in this. Big ass Secret Service agent. He's great. That was a long walk to get there because I thought I just stumbled upon a third dead celebrity, which would have been just depressing. Bubba for $1.99 says 2000's Out Cold. Perfect summer flick. That's Colton's just going to keep pushing this movie. Bubba, aka Colton. 2000's Out Cold. Listen, eventually I will review this just because you've been such a ardent, great supporter of the channel, but we can't keep pushing it. If you keep pushing it, you're going to keep pushing me away from it. Fun fact, Lilo and Stitch is getting the live-action Disney treatment. So look forward to another horrendous abomination of a remake with live-action effects. Here's a little gem. Here's a little ditty that I don't think a lot of people remember or maybe saw. Surf's Up. And I put this on the list entirely because I started surfing. I don't remember if it's even that good. But it's a surfing movie starring Shia LaBeouf. It's kind of Office mockumentary handheld camera, shaky cam. There's interviews from the characters interspersed with the actual storyline. Zooey Deschanel's in there. I like Deschanel. I like Zoe. I mean, they're all cartoons, but, you know, they're doing the voices. I'd give it a shot. It might be fun. If you got kids and you haven't seen it, Surf's Up is different. And different is sometimes good. This is not... Okay, I put this on here because I love The Emperor's New Groove. It will go on pretty much every list I ever make going forward. If it's a horror film, I'll put Emperor's New Groove on here. I don't care. This is one of Disney's best animated movies. It was criminally underrated. It was part of the reason 2D animation died. It underperformed. I don't care. It's gold. You should watch The Emperor's New Groove. You got David Spade again on this list. John Goodman's here. I think Eartha Kitt. Yeah, Patrick Warburton as Kronk. All of these voice actors are putting in the work, and the animators brilliantly match their voices to these characters in such a great degree. Just the little facial tics, the way that David Spade's Emperor Cusco kind of like perks up his eyes and gives like the, well, it's just like David Spade. I like the animations kind of crappy. The backgrounds are just these terrible stock wallpaper fish things, and they didn't even try, which makes it funny as well. Everything about this movie is hilarious. Not really summery. I mean, it's in summer. I guess there is... You know what? I take that back. This is a summertime fun film. The whole plot revolves around Cusco putting a swimming pool on the top of this beautiful hill that's owned by Pancha and his family. Okay, this is a gem. Luca had the unfortunate release during COVID, straight to Disney Plus to die. A lot of people passed on this film. It's such a charming little picture. It's really good. It really is. Jacob Tremblay voices. Jake Dillon is Luca's buddy. What is his name? Alberto. The whole plot is super simple. They're these sea monsters that realize they can go up on land and they look like humans unless they get wet, gremlin style, but they don't pop out a bunch of other sea monsters. They just have their true form revealed. So they're in hiding. And it has kind of a double entendre because they're in hiding from people, but they're also in hiding from themselves. Luca is bottled up. Alberto has a lot of baggage that unspools as the movie progresses. They learn to find themselves. This is very much a coming-of-age story as well. And they're looking for a Vespa. They want to win a bike race to get a Vespa. And who doesn't want one? I love the Italian countryside. There's a lot of beautiful messages and themes throughout. Visually, it's a stunning movie. It's small scale. It's quaint, but it's absolutely worth your time, especially if you haven't seen it. And if you don't have kids, still watch it because it's a beautiful movie. And you know what? Last thing I'll say, a lot of people complain about social commentary and messaging in today's movies being way too on the nose, way beat over your head. Luca is a perfect example of smart writing, talking about bigger messaging in a non-intrusive way. Little Miss Sunshine. I haven't watched this movie in a very long time. I remember how charming it was and how different it was. Nice little indie flick. You got Steve Carell in here. You got Toni Collette. I forgot she's in this. Toni Collette's in here. She's great. It's Abigail Breslin. This must be pre-Zombieland. Maybe pre-Zombieland. What year is this? 2006? Yeah, it has to be. Bryan Cranston's in here. It's a family loaded with quirky, colorful characters piled into an old van and road trips to California for little Olive to compete in a beauty pageant. It's so good because the beauty pageant is those creepy, disturbing beauty pageants where moms put their little kids in and dress them like they're 21 years old when they're 8 or 9. It's really bizarre, really gross. And the performance that, well, I won't ruin it, but let's just say it's out of left field and it's perfect for this bizarre family. I need to rewatch this film because this is a solid flick. Very good. And you should watch it too, Little Miss Sunshine. Okay, probably should have moved this up higher to match with Caddyshack because we have a second golf movie on the list. And this is one of my favorite comedies of all time. Adam Sandler has definitely missed a step in the last 20 years, although he still has a hidden uncut gem from time to time. But Happy Gilmore is Sandler peak. Failed hockey player turned golf whiz Happy Gilmore, whose unconventional approach and antics on the grass courts the ire of rival Shooter McGavin. Shooter! Is determined to win a PGA tournament so he can save his granny's house with the prize money. Meanwhile, an attractive tour publicist tries to soften Happy's image. That's Julie Bowen, who's from Modern Family and a bunch of other stuff. Julie Bowen's really funny. She's great in this. Shooter McGavin he's one of the greatest villains in comedy movie history. He's right up there with a lot of Ben Stiller characters. And Ben Stiller's in this as well as a douchebag orderly who is basically harassing all the elderly people to make sweaters. He has a sweatshop going on. What does it say? Check out the tag. You're in my world now, Grandma. He has some great lines. One time a woman's hands are hurting, and then he says, well, now your back's going to hurt because you just pulled landscape duty. Adam Sandler, of course, has a ton of great lines. Why don't you go in your hole? Why don't you go? The price is wrong, bitch. Beats up Bob Barker, but actually Bob Barker kicks the crap out of him. Makes it even funnier. He starts a rhyming schematic against Shooter McGavin. Why don't we go down by the bay? Make things out of clay. I just may. What do you say? Oh, I love Happy Gilmore. Insanely quotable film. And very much summer. Looks like we have a couple horror flicks on the list now. A couple horror picks. I Know What You Did Last Summer. There's two things I love about this movie. And they're both on Jennifer Love Hewitt. and the camera knows it. There's a shot where they're looking down at her and she's looking up with a low-cut top. What do you want from us? What do you want from us? Or whatever she said. I don't know what she says. It doesn't matter. The camera knows what I want from this movie, and it's Jennifer Love Hewitt. Let's read the synopsis, not that it matters. As they celebrate their high school graduation, 4 friends are involved in a hit-and-run accident when their car hits and apparently kills a pedestrian on an isolated roadway. Let's back up. Okay. Let me take a drink. You have to make one paragraph for your movie. I don't know where they get these synopses from, but let me just go back. As they celebrate their high school graduation, 4 friends are involved in a hit-and-run accident when their car hits and apparently kills a pedestrian. You used hit back to back. I don't like when things do that. Don't say a hit and run and then say the car hits in the same sentence. It doesn't work for me. When the car strikes, say that. They are involved in a hit and run accident when their car strikes and apparently kills a pedestrian on an isolated roadway. Lots of different words in the English dictionary that you could have used instead of this. Open a thesaurus. You have like 3 sentences here. Make them count. Anyway, they dispose of the body and vow to keep the incident a secret. A year later, somebody starts sending them letters bearing the warning, I know what you did last summer. And this dude has a hook for a hand. I remember that. He's kind of like a pirate killer. Arr, matey. Well, not really, but he does have a pirate hook. Not really. He just has a hook. I think it's an ice pick. Because he might have worked at a meat plant. Genuinely don't remember anything about the movie except for Jennifer Love Hewitt. But I think it's pretty good. And I know they made a bunch of these, so it was probably decent enough the first time. And it has summer in the title, so it's a summer horror film. That's the criteria. Speaking of summer, let's talk Midsummer. Some people say Midsummer because I think that's what Midsummer means in whatever weird language or whatever they're using. Ari Aster is different. He makes different movies. Beau Was Afraid was a recent one he did. With Midsummer, we have several friends travel to Sweden to study as anthropologists, a summer festival that is held every 90 years in the remote hometown of one of them. What? Okay, what is going on? Several friends travel to Sweden to study as anthropologists, a summer festival that is held every 90 years. We lost a sentence somewhere? What? This isn't a sentence. Several friends travel to Sweden to study as anthropologists for a summer festival that is held every 90... Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, 4. They're missing the word for. Study as anthropologists for a summer festival that is held every 90 years. Okay, I thought I was losing my mind. This is missing a word. And that's absolutely unacceptable. What begins as a dream vacation in a place where the sun never sets gradually turns into a dark nightmare as the mysterious inhabitants invite them to participate in their disturbing, festive activities. This movie made me feel sick to my stomach the entire time I was watching it, and any movie that can elicit that from me is doing a good job. I didn't enjoy watching this movie, but I enjoy thinking about this film, and I want to rewatch it again. It's a disturbing flick, full of consequences, full of poor decision-making, full of some of the coolest, eeriest imagery you'll ever see. Check out Midsummer. Plus, you got Florence Pugh. You can't go wrong with Florence. Funny Games. This is a disturbing flick. When Anne, husband George, and son Georgie arrive at their holiday home, they are visited by a pair of polite and seemingly pleasant young men. Armed with deceptively sweet smiles and some golf clubs, they proceed to terrorize and torture the tight-knit clan, giving them until the next day to survive. Naomi Watts, Tim Roth, Michael Pitt, they put in work here. Naomi Watts is always really damn good. She's always crying. Every movie she's crying like crazy, but she's a good looking crier. I don't know if there is a movie that she's been in where she doesn't cry. King Kong cries. Mulholland Drive. She's crying a lot. Well, she's in other. Let's look at the Naomi Watts catalog. Birdman absolutely cries. Vice, I don't remember her in Vice. The Ring, I'm sure she's crying a bunch in that. I didn't see Demolition. Insurgent, she's in Insurgent. Gross. Oh, she's in all these stupid movies. Movie 43, yuck! Get out of here. Maybe she doesn't cry in movie 43, but that movie's garbage. The fuck? She's in Tank Girl? What? Where am I right now? Get me out of here. Okay, Funny Games is creepy crap. It's a slow burn, kind of a bottle episode type thing. It almost all takes place inside of this house with these two weirdo dudes with their white polo shirts and their stupid bangs. It's a great watch, though, especially around right now in the summer. You're looking for something creepy, something a little off kilter. Check out Funny Games. I don't want to give anything away, but spoiler, this family doesn't have a good summer. All right, here's a fun one for the fam. The River Wild. Gail and Tom Hartman are struggling to stay together and decide to take a whitewater rafting holiday adventure in Montana for their son Rourke's 10th birthday, only to meet up with a pair of mysterious men whose desperation grows, turning their vacation into a nightmare. We got Meryl Streep, folks. You cannot go wrong with Streep. She always puts in the performance. Kevin Bacon's the villain. K-Bake is here, shaking and baking all the way up and down this river wild. A large chunk of the movie takes place in the raft. Streep, her character is an expert at, like going again, doing the rafting thing. I don't know, what's a professional whitewater rafter called? Is there a word? Is there a word for it? If there is, I don't know. I believe her son or daughter, one of them is deaf. So she has to do sign language and stuff. She has to do sign language, bullshit, things like that. And that's one of the ways they can kind of outfox this Bacon. This is a great 90s action movie. It was weird to see Meryl Streep in this. This doesn't really seem like the type of movie she does. It's not like something she has to really give a huge, powerful performance. She's not going to win an Oscar for this film. But it's still nice to have someone like her in the driver's seat. River Wild. Underrated gem. We're getting some blockbusters in here. I like Charlie's Angels and Full Throttle. They're some of the dumbest movies ever made by a director called McG. When you have a director called McG, expect some of the dumbest shit to possibly show up on screen. Charlie's Angels is summer fun for the whole family. Tons of cameos in this, outside of the fantastic trio of Cameron Diaz, Lucy Liu, and who's this other bitch? Drew Barrymore, who for some reason has a talk show that goes on 24/7 on my TV. If I turn on the Samsung and I don't have any of the apps running, you get the free channels that show up. Drew Barrymore is on non-stop. It's either her or on the other channel, it's Fear Factor. And I have to say, I sometimes catch myself watching Joe Rogan talking about people eating cow dung. And I get enraptured by it. I'm like, man, how are they going to get out of this jam? Are they going to be able to beat this person's time over here? I don't know. But I'm going to watch and find out. Charlie's Angels is obviously based on an older TV show, based on like 1,000. It's been around for a long time. You have these three elite spies. They're kicking ass. This is during the time when the Matrix has made everything wire fu combat heavy. Lots of campy kung fu, Lots of over-the-top action, some great music, good soundtracks in these films, hot women, cool cars. It's just fun for the whole group of guys. I was gonna say fun for the whole family, but it's not fun for the whole family. This is a guy movie. This is the movie you watch by yourself and wonder what you've done with your life. That's Charlie's Angels. I don't even want to give away. I mean, I'm looking at the list of people in this. You should try not to look because there is so many cameos in these movies. This movie has aged like milk. But I believe, I truly believe that if you're an American especially, this is mandatory watch on Independence Day. The president in this is far better than any president we've ever actually had. He gives one of the greatest speeches in all of history. Bill Pullman really puts in the work. Mankind. Words got a new meaning for all of us today. The monologue is brilliant. We will not go quietly into the night. And then you have the one guy that's so extremely over the top with the salute. Will Smith is just Will Smithing all over the place in this movie. He is the same guy in most of the movies he's in. Woo! Ha ha! Whoosh! Welcome to Earth. Whoosh! Slaps him, Chris Rock style. You have Jeff Goldblum. They're using our satellites against us. What happens when it hits zero? Zzz, checkmate. The plot makes very little sense. They end up destroying the aliens by putting a human, I guess, Windows 95 virus into the alien mothership. For some reason, they're using the same OS as we are. I don't really understand it, but it doesn't matter. You're watching this movie for the insanely cool destruction that has aged a tad. Still looks pretty solid because they're using models. They're not using CG. It's practical effects. Even if it's miniaturized and then slowed down so you can really see those explosions, it's still pretty cool. Will Smith's doing some legwork. He's showing his own as a Hollywood blockbuster action guy. It is a nice pairing with him and Jeff Goldblum, but I think Goldblum pairs well with pretty much everything. Vivica A. Fox is a stripper for no reason at all. We just make her a stripper, I guess. We get one little tasteful scene there. I saw this movie 3 times in theaters. I was in, I think, late middle school, early high school. I might have been a freshman in high school. What year did this come out? 96? I can't do that math. 82, 96. I was 14. Yeah, I would have been in 9th grade. That sounds right. 9th grade. Yeah, I would have been a freshman in high school. This movie kicked ass. It was large-scale destruction. There are still some cool parts that do work. Nuke them. Let's nuke the bastards. You have those 2 general guys that are in every movie as generals that are always on the wrong side of like the good choice to make, but then come around or don't come around and they get court-martialed or something. You have the really freaking badass section of the film where they go to Area 51 and the alien in the suit is behind the glass. And the agents are like, what do you, oh no, Bill Pullman's like, what do you want from us? And there's a pause and the alien just goes, die. Pullman says, is that glass bulletproof? No, sir. Epic. ID4, baby. Sequel sucks. Living on the net. I said it's getting da. You have Danger Zone here, Top Gun. I gave it 3 stars. I don't really think this movie's very good. But it should be watched. And mainly because Top Gun Maverick is badass and does deserve a place in the summer movie list. Top Gun is really campy. It's really corny. It starts out solid for about 40 minutes. But then the love interest enters the fray. Charlie enters the picture. She doesn't look good with Tom Cruise. They have zero chemistry together. I don't know why they have this shit in the movie. Feels like I'm watching Twilight for a large portion of this flick. And the final act comes back around and kind of saves a little bit of it, but it's a messy film. It feels like something that they tacked the love story into that shouldn't have been there. But it's only on this list because I got to get Top Gun Maverick in here. This is the summer feel-good movie for everyone. Again, if you're in America, mandatory watch? I think so. Maybe not a 4th of July watch. We've reserved that for Independence Day. But there's a lot of honoring the troops, honoring the fallen. We can use it for one of those days. Maybe Memorial Day. Also throw in Top Gun Maverick. I think that's fair. Dieter Bastian says, didn't you forget something, Adam? When it comes to Charlie's Angels, we have strong female leads. And it wasn't even time back then in the 2000s. It's always about time, Dieter. It's always about time. Let's not forget they did redo Charlie's Angels again a couple years back. And those leads weren't stronger or femaler or leadier. That movie was so completely forgettable. It didn't have any fun. It was missing the fun. This is the Tom Cruise section of this list. There is a bunch of Tom Cruise summer movies on here for me. Days of Thunder being one of them. Days of Thunder is the better Top Gun. Kind of the exact same movie too, but in a car instead of a plane. You have a young rookie, and I know this is based loosely on a real race car driver. I know nothing about race car driving or the people that drive them. But I know the backstory of this. Tom Cruise is playing loosely based a different character. Anyway, he has something to prove here on the track. And by the end of the movie, spoiler, he's going to prove it. Movie's shot really well. This is a Tony Scott vehicle. Tony Scott, R.I.P., related to Ridley Scott. T-Money actually took his own life. I believe he jumped off a bridge. So we are back to kind of some depressing deaths on this list again. Hate to say that. Talented but unproven stock car driver Cole Trickle gets a break, and with the guidance of veteran Harry Hogue, Robert Duvall plays him. He's great. Turns heads on the track. The young hotshot develops a rivalry with a fellow racer that threatens his career when the two smash their cars. But with the help of his doctor, Cole just might overcome his injuries and his fear. His doctor is Nicole Kidman. Unlike the previous actress, these two have chemistry together. I still feel like the love story is the least interesting part of the movie and could be removed altogether. I was not expecting our boy Cole to get injured in a head-on collision with his rival so early in the film. I thought, damn, is this going not a Few Good Men? Is this going a Born on the 4th of July route? Which that's Tom Cruise's probably his best performance in a movie. He is acting his heart out in Born on the 4th of July. No, it's not. It kind of cops out with that and goes back to the racing again. But that stuff is really good. I didn't put it on here, but there is another race car movie that you should watch simply to laugh. And that's Driven with Sylvester Stallone. Saw that movie in theaters on a summer rainy day. It's really, really silly, really campy stuff, but also very entertaining. The lead actor, I don't know, some of the actors they got for the movie I'd never heard of, untested actors, they're just not very good. Stallone is the show there, but he's not the main character, and he kind of takes a back seat for a lot of the movie, which is disappointing, because I much prefer watching Stallone driving a car fast than these other weird guys. Driven, funny-ass movie. I think I put one more Tom Cruise summer movie on here, and it's Cocktail. Cocktail. Again, it's a love story. You got Elizabeth Shue in the mix, but the love story is also a bit tacked on. It's not really the main focus. The main focus is between Tom Cruise and Brian Brown's character. They have this rivalry going on. They used to be best buds. Something changed. Cruise's character goes off to work at a cabana, and things fall back into place later on. It's a dramedy. It's got a lot of heart. It's got a lot of emotion. It's got a good amount of cheese to it. Cruise is bartending, flipping shit around, breaking all sorts of drinks. It just seems incredibly irresponsible. Let's talk about the plot. After being discharged from the army, Brian Flanagan moves back to Queens and takes a job in a bar run by Doug Coughlin, who teaches Brian the fine art of bartending. Brian quickly becomes a patron favorite with his flashy drink mixing style, and Brian adopts his mentor's cynical philosophy on life and goes for the money. Cocktail surprised me. I didn't watch this movie until a few years back when it went to Netflix one glorious afternoon, and I thought to myself, yeah, I'm in the mood for something terrible. Put it on, and I was kind of enthralled with it. I thought, this is not at all what I expected. Is it a great movie? No. But it's a good, feel-goodish summer flick. I watched it, and it was funny. One of my best buddies I talked to for the first time in a few months, and I said, you're never going to believe what I watched a couple of days ago. It's a movie I never had seen previously because I thought it was going to be terrible. And he stopped me in my tracks and said, Cocktail? And I was just taken aback. I'm like, how did you know that? And he says, because I watched it 2 days ago as well. Boom! Cocktailception. Damn it, Netflix. Damn it, you apps listening to our conversations, listening to what we like and dislike. They knew. He and I had similar tastes. They put Cocktail on that home screen. Sly dogs. This might be another one that has not withstood the test of time, and I will admit fully, it's been a very long time since I've seen The Karate Kid. Clearly, I thought it was great. At one point, I gave it 4.5 stars. Ralph Macchio, Elizabeth Shue, also in this one. Maybe I have a Shue thing for Shue. It's possible. She was a smoke shoe. Huh? Hassled by the school bullies, Daniel LaRusso has his share of adolescent woos. Luckily, his apartment building houses a resident martial arts master, Keisuke Miyagi. Mr. Miyagi, as we would always lovingly refer to him, who agrees to train Daniel, doing a lot of wax on, wax off bullshit. You got the sweep the leg at the end. Daniel fights the bullies in the parking lot at night, saves the girl. It's playbook stuff, but it kind of started the playbook of these young adolescent boys growing up, learning how to fend for themselves on the mean streets. And I dig it for that. Some really beautiful cinematography. Obviously, you have the iconic beach scene where he's up in the crane pose doing the jump kicks. It's good stuff. And it's just as relevant today as it was back in the freaking 80s, because you have the TV series, which I still haven't watched. People swear by it. They say that Karate Kid TV show is really good. I forgot what it's called even, because I just don't give a shit to watch it. Yeah, I don't know. People seem to really like it, but people love the nostalgia berries. They love the Memba berries. This is another classic, 1973's American Graffiti, directed by George Lucas. George Lucas vehicle. You got Richard Dreyfuss, you got Ron Howard in this. I remember mandatory watch in one of my film classes. I thought for sure this was going to be a boring ass mess of a film, and I was blown away by how pretty the cinematography was, how good the acting was, how real everything felt. I like the different subplots and storylines and how they all come together on this one night. It should be watched by everyone. There's a reason why some movies are, heralded as the greatest things ever. Like Citizen Kane's always mentioned, The Godfather, American Graffiti gets caught, it gets brought up from time to time, and there's reasons for it. So if you haven't seen American Graffiti, I would give it a watch at least once just to tip the hat at both George Lucas and how he legitimately was a great director at one point, and just how far things have come and where things started. Not that this is the first by any means, but it did things different. I appreciate that. Okay, the bottom picks here, there's 5 or 6 left. These are from my wife and daughter. These are their picks. Some of them I haven't even seen. Now and then I saw at some point in my life, I didn't even give it a star rating because I truly don't remember it. I was probably very young when I saw it. It came out in 95, probably when I watched it, honestly. I'll just give you the synopsis. Waxing nostalgic about the bittersweet passage from childhood to puberty in this tender coming-of-age tale, 4 childhood girlfriends, Teeny, Chrissy, Samantha, and Roberta, recall the magical summer of 1970. During their walk down memory lane, they reconcile experience with boys, secrets, bullies, and more. Sounds fucking lame. Sounds like some girly stuff. We got Christina Ricci, Rosie O'Donnell, Thora Birch, and Melanie Griffith in this. Demi Moore, also I see. Rita Wilson. Okay, yeah, you got, Rita Wilson, she's married to Tom Hanks' wife? Really good cast, I'll say that. Maybe I should watch this. That's Now and Then. Scan, dan, 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 dan. Campaigning, I got sunshine and a cloudy day. Skip-dee-dee-dee-dee. I remember this movie being kind of boring. I gave it 3.5 stars, maybe out of courtesy. I'm not sure this is that good. I remember it's really freaking sad. I saw this movie when it came out, and I never watched it again because I was devastated by what happens in it. You got Macaulay Culkin in this. You got how do you say her name? Anna Chlumsky? Dan Aykroyd? Jamie Lee Curtis? I didn't even realize Dan Aykroyd was in this movie. He must be a dad. Here's the thing. Anna Chomsky, what's her name? Chlumsky? Weird name. Anna is in Veep, and Veep is one of the funniest comedies ever created, ever. So by that alone, My Girl's great. Just based on her being in a different TV show. I don't remember this movie. I don't even care to read the synopsis. I'm bored just looking at it, but My Girl is on their list. I had the time of my life and never felt this way before. And I swear it's the truth. I fucking owe it all to you. Hey, baby. Well, I've been waiting for so long. And so soon as skill of this, stand by me. All right, I'm done. Great song. I don't care about this because I'm not a 17-year-old girl. Let's read the synopsis. Expecting the usual tedium that accompanies a summer in the Catskills with her family, 17-year-old Frances Baby Houseman is surprised to find herself stepping into the shoes of a professional hoofer and unexpectedly falling in love. Of course, Patrick Swayze's in this. Jennifer Grey, who she was kind of like an 80s, 90s prodigy. I love her in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I'd put Ferris Bueller in the summer movie list, but they're in school still, and school is anti-summer to me. Couldn't do it because it's summer. Dieter says, so much for the family shoutouts. Adam, I don't care. Dirty Dancing's a Lindsay pick. The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. I think she put both of them on here as a pick. We can just all encompass this. Isn't this the same damn movie as Now and Then or Then and Now or whatever the hell it's called? 4 best friends, Tibby, Lena, Carmen, and Bridget, who buy a mysterious pair of pants that fits each of them, despite their different sizes, and makes whoever wears them feel fabulous. When faced with the prospect of spending the first summer apart, the pals decide they'll swap the pants so each girl in turn can enjoy the magic. What the fuck? That's the plot of this? Got America Ferrera in this thing. Blake Lively. I don't know who Amber Tamblyn is. Alexis Bledel. Alexis Bledel, or as I will always refer to her, Rory Gilmore. That's right, I'm a Gilmore fan. Gilmore fanatic. Not really a fanatic, but I've seen the show. I celebrate the entire catalog of Gilmore Girls. In fact, if you look closely in the background, there's actually a couple of the box sets right down there. We have all the Gilmore Girls seasons except for the Netflix 4-parter, but I have seen it. Not great. Not great, but the show is fantastic. Good dialogue, witty banter. Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, I couldn't give two pants about. Haven't seen it, don't plan to. Probably great for teenage girls. This is my daughter's pick. Soul Surfer. Have not seen this movie either. Helen Hunt's in this, and Dennis Quaid. And Carrie Underwood? And Kevin Sorbo? What? What the fuck is Kevin Sorbo doing in movies for still? Oh, God. The true story of teen surfer Bethany Hamilton, who lost her arm in a shark attack and courageously overcame all odds to become a champion again through her sheer determination and unwavering faith. It's like a Christian movie, or, Soul Surfer. I didn't see this, but surfing's involved. My daughter's really big into surfing, so I'm sure this clicked in her brain. She thought Soul Surfer. I couldn't tell you if it's good or not. Usually, movies based on true inspiring stories are kind of hard to miss. Probably a decent little flick. I think that's it. I think that's the end of my Summer Jams 2023 playlist. You can find this. You can find this on my Letterboxd account if you follow me. I'm trying to do my best to start getting back at cleaning up this mess. I know I'm behind. I know I'm still behind. I didn't see Tetris because that's like a stupid Apple Plus exclusive. Across the Spider-Verse, I gave 4.5 stars. Transformers Rise of the Beast, I have not reviewed yet. Let's go ahead and slap a generous 3 stars on it. Bumblebee, I have seen. Let's give that one a 3.5 stars. It's a good flick. Not a great flick. It's a good flick. Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. Yeah, that's a 1.5 stars. That's appropriate. Transformers Dark of the Moon. That's a 1 star. That's appropriate. Oh, wait, Dark of the Moon. That one's not that bad. I gave that a 1? And Revenge of the Fallen. Revenge of the Fallen, I'm going to give 2. Dark of the Moon, I'm going to give 2. Fast X, 2.5. Let's go 2.5 on these. Yeah, we'll go 2.5 on those. I think that's appropriate. All right, let me jump off of this. Let me jump off of this view, Boo, I'm back. Okay, that is my Summer Jams 2023 playlist. If you have any super chat questions or you want to give your own recommendation, you want me to read it off, now is the time. Now is the crime. Let's see if I missed any super chats. Bubba threw a $1.99 powerful chat in, says, Field of Dreams, great baseball and summer movie. Field of Dreams is good. I do agree. I think it's maybe a little overrated, but it is a good movie. If you build it, they will come. I remember some bizarre little McDonald's thing that they had for a while where you could get certain DVDs. I don't know what the fuck it was, but for some reason you could buy a DVD for a cheap amount of money with one of your meals. Field of Dreams was one of the options. Dances with Wolves was one of the options. I think they're all Kevin Costner movies that no one wanted anymore. Postman. What was that weird promotion? That was a long time ago. Galaxy Far, Far Away. Yeah, Dieter Bastian, they're all rotting on. It's funny, I reviewed the new Transformers movie and I said it's probably my third favorite behind Transformers 1 and Bumblebee. And I guess some people took that as a positive. But I gave it a rotten on Rotten Tomatoes because we've had 7 of these movies and it's the same crap every time. I just don't care at all. It didn't do anything new or interesting. It's entertaining, but that doesn't make it a good movie. It just means I was able to get through it and not want to kill myself. It's like McDonald's. It's like a fast food, you eat any fast food. You're like, okay, well, that kind of did the job. It didn't make me sick afterwards, but I wouldn't write home about it. I wouldn't say, hey, this is the greatest thing ever. Or, hey, if you're looking for a good meal, this is my number 1 choice or my number 20 choice. No, those would be way down at the bottom. I would point to something a little bit more 5-star. Let me see. What else do we have coming up? I'm going to wrap up here in about 4 minutes. So again, appreciate any super chats you want to throw out here. Any questions or comments or concerns, throw them my way. I will say coming up on the channel. Actually, you know what? I gotta look for a second and see what comes out next week. I posted my Transformers review. It's up. It's live. It's kind of funny. And that's what we go for. I saw Across the Spider-Verse is getting re-released into theaters, a different cut, because the audio mix was really bad. I didn't point this out in the review because I wasn't sure if it was just my theater, but it was definitely very quiet for the first 20 or so minutes. Supposedly they have a new version, a new master that's going out that's going to replace those. The Flash, is that next week? Okay, so The Flash is the Thursday movie, which is the 16th. That's my wife's birthday. I most likely won't see The Flash on her birthday. I don't think that's the type of thing she wants to go to. So me and the kids will probably go to it Friday at some point, and I will try to get the review out Friday night for The Flash. Oh my God, there's 2 movies coming out that day? Damn it, Lindsay, why is your birthday on such a big movie release day? Elemental also comes out in 6 days, on the 16th. Shit. Okay, well. Really? Oh, wait, no. The Thursday showings are the 15th. Okay, we are okay here. Okay, we're okay, the 15th. So I will be going back to back on the 15th watching The Flash and Elemental. Got those movies in me going back to back. We're going back to back, little Drake style. Look for those reviews next week, probably Friday for both, maybe Saturday actually, depending on how much I can get done, how quickly. Coming up, I have 2 Patreon reviews I'm working on. I'm way behind because of the surf lessons. Those will probably be coming out. I'm going to be doing a bunch of work on the channel tomorrow because I got to get a podcast ready. I got to get the Patreon reviews done. I got to get the cringe exclusive episode for the month edited for January. If you're on the $10 tier level on Patreon or on YouTube Join, $10 or higher, you have access to the exclusive The Cringe, which is coming back. Funny ass show, character I play named Khaleesi Grimes 82. I'm excited to be doing those again. That's coming out very shortly, and you get a new one every month. Plus, I released the Water Wars movies, the 4 homemade movies I did a long time ago. They're now on Patreon and for YouTube Join members. They're each 45 minutes long. They're incredibly silly, incredibly stupid, and incredibly me. And I'm proud of every one of them. So if you are a Patreon or YouTube Join member, you can absolutely watch those. Okay, we got a super chat in during my little diatribe there. Mikey says, what's your favorite spy movie? Well, obviously Spy Kids. Joking. Spy movie, that's a good question. I would say, gosh, it's probably one of the Mission Impossibles, to be honest with you. I would say Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol, or Rogue Nation I'm a big fan of those movies. I think they're so fun. And Tom Cruise is just full on Tom Cruise in them, jumping off shit, running from shit. It's Cruise at his best. There's probably some spy gem that's critically acclaimed that I'm not thinking about right now. But the first thing that jumps to my mind when you say spy is Mission Impossible. And I'm not the biggest Bond guy. I can appreciate them. I like some of them from time to time, but overall, I'm not like clamoring for Bond. I don't own the Bond collection or anything. Yeah, I'd say Mission Impossible. Do you consider the Godfather's movies spy? I guess that's more mob. I don't think mob and spy are in the same league. Good question, though. All right, I think I'm going to wrap this up. It is 12:09. I'll give like a minute longer since there is a delay on the stream. And if no one has anything further, we have a few movies on the horizon that are still coming out. We got Indiana Jones. We have Indiana Bones, as I've been calling it, because he's definitely getting up there. What else is coming up in movie? Asteroid City opens in 13 days. No Hard Feelings, the Jennifer Lawrence comedy. I'm actually really looking forward to that. That's June 23. Indiana Jones is in 20 days. That terrible teenager Kraken movie, that looks awful. That's in 20 days as well. Isn't the Barbie movie also coming out? Oh shit, is Regal not showing the Barbie movie? That can't be right. Barbie comes out the same day as Indiana Jones, and I'm not seeing it listed on the Regal app, but it's possible they just don't have it on here yet. We're going to assume that it's going to release. Otherwise, I don't know what the hell's happening with this stupid movie company. And there's also a Monday mystery movie in 9 days. The last couple have been terrible. I'll probably go because I hate myself, but I'm not expecting much of anything from it. All right, that's the stream. I'm wrapping up. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the support. Podcast on Monday. We always do a live watch of that at 8 p.m. Or you can find it on Spotify and Apple Music or Apple Podcasts at 8 in the morning. It goes live. All right, take care. We'll see you soon.